Okay, good. Oh, there we go.
Wow. It could be my internet also because here in Montreal, the internet is
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah, I remember.
not always the best.
Hey, it's windy today. There's no internet.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, so far it's loading. Come on, come on. Oh, I think we are live. Wait, it's circling. I can see myself. Yes. Hi, I think we are live. Let me just check on my phone to make sure 100%. It shows live. Yeah, so we are live. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. We are live. Thank you so much. It's happy Friday. So today we're another episode of our Thank You series. It's actually episode six already. Wow, guys, episode six already. Unbelievable. And today we have an amazing guest, Nadine. I actually just met Nadine. Was it just this week? I feel like it was like
Actually,
yesterday.
yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
Yeah, it
Was it
was
able to,
like
yeah,
feels like
2 days
it was
ago?
yesterday. And yeah, and I had an amazing talk with Nadine, and I wanted him to come on. I told her about our topic today, the Thank You series. So it's just about, inspiring people, giving them hope, and just giving them like an insight to maybe what are the things that maybe stopping us to probably reach our goals. And Nadine is going to share some of her expertise, some of her journey, whether in her business career or anything in life, and what she did to be able to achieve the things that she have achieved. Hi, Nadine.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much. How are you doing today, this Friday?
Oh, so good. Fridays are my either Fridays or Mondays are like my days that I take for like sleeping in,
Oh, I love that.
really slow
Yeah.
moving, walking, doing all the things to like
Mm,
really nourish myself and
correct.
keep my glow on.
Yes.
So
We
you were
like
the
that
only
glow,
thing I
yeah.
had scheduled today, so you got me glowing today.
Yes, it's good. You are glowing. Your light is glowing.
Good lighting, good lighting. But you're gonna hear about this today because this is so much of like my life philosophy, right? Of going slow and actually taking time to actually like really nourish yourself first. And that everything actually comes out of that, right? Like when
Mhm.
we were talking this week a little bit, and that's what I said is like I really do come from that hustle background. I really know that I feel like that's how I built the first like part of my career in my life. And then I was like, how do people do this to
Mhm.
67? Like, I'm gonna,
We're
this is
just gonna
not
have to.
sustainable. This is not sustainable. And yeah, just really moving in another direction, which at first feels really scary, right? Because especially
Mhm.
when you're really entrenched in like the hustle and you got to go all the time and you got to work long days, otherwise things aren't moving forward. It's like
Correct.
it feels really disorienting to go the other way. But what I found is actually like the more you take care of yourself, meaning
Hmm.
going slow enough to actually like be with what you're feeling, what's happening, moving through your life, through your business, through your relationships, your impact is
Correct. Exactly.
so
Yes.
much more potent. And so, yeah, you actually don't have to work as much because when you are showing up, there's so much juice in it that
Hmm.
there's like way more.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Like for me, just like what you just said, like, you say you choose Monday or Friday sometimes to like kind of like your slow day, right? And then I think it's kind of ingrained with us with that side, like the hustle, like thing that people say you gotta work or do something. Like today I was trying to do like slow day because today my son was had a fever, right, and sick. And for me,
Mhm.
it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm not doing something right. And I feel
Yeah,
like there's part of me that's feel guilty, but it's part of me like, oh no, it's okay to have the slow day and take care of my son and take care of myself. And maybe today is not the mental health for me to like do that grind, like me because I'm like trying to transition to something more, like to have that
yeah,
balance.
yeah. And trust in life, like thing. Like I trust the unfolding of my life. Or am
Hmm.
I feeling like if I'm not carrying and pushing all the time, I'm not going to be okay? And it's such a different way to orient yourself in your business and in your life, right? Like, feel like if I was sitting here with you today and I was like, what am I going to get out of this? I got to be amazing. I better like make sure everybody loves me. Like, it's
Yeah.
so much pressure,
Correct,
right? And
correct, correct.
the person feels that too. There's no space for like genuine connection
Correct.
because I'm actually so kind of self-involved in my own shit.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And I think that's such a big part of like again, business is relationships. And I don't care what business you're in. The foundation of business is relationships. And people, I mean, they're whether you're what your orientation is and what your intent is, conscious or unconscious in every conversation, right? Like again,
Correct.
if I was here or if you were here with me and all you cared about is like what are you going to get and what am I going to get
Correct.
out of you? That like baseline connection is not there. So we're both kind of like unconsciously guarded against each other, right?
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's what's missing sometimes in the online space. Like now that I'm starting to like get into the connection more, building relationship, getting to know people. I feel like some people sometimes shy away to have a connection. They're like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, okay. I'm like, why? I just wanted to talk to you. What's wrong about talking to you? They'll ask me like, what do you want? What can I help you? It's like nothing. I'm just saying hello.
But see, that's the thing. We're so used to people being so transactional with us that
Mhm.
now we're actually rightfully so guarded. It's like, what do you want? Like, I don't want to, I don't know you. Why would I want to give you my time? Why would I want to give you my attention? Because I feel like you're just going to take from me. Right. And it's
Exactly.
just understanding, like, I think, people get insulted. Like, I think that's something that really struggles when they start in business. Like, oh, I don't know why people are taking offense. It's like,
Guys, there's no
so
offense.
used to being bombarded. Right.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, you gotta realize like it takes time to build connection and for
Oh
people to
yeah.
trust.
That's now what we're learning. Like for me in this transition that I'm doing, right? To kind of like more have balance, to feel like, oh, I don't need to like overwork myself. Like before, I was like, oh, if I'm not doing something, I feel like guilty that there's that guilt. Like you were saying to me before, like, you know how the letting go, like sometimes if it doesn't benefit you or allows you to grow, sometimes you have to let go of that thing because it's not maybe something that's aligning to what you really want. And for me, it's really hard that transition. That transition for me, it was really hard because I feel like, oh, if I'm not doing the same thing what other people is doing, which is like grinding and grinding, but I wanna go back to where I feel like I'm grounded. Like I wanna
Yeah.
find true mission that I really want. Like I feel like, oh, this is me. Like I'm doing this because it's authentically me.
You're hitting on something so good here. I love the way you're articulating that. Like, so what I'm hearing you say is like you got to this point in your life where you're like you were actually getting like something was feeling uncomfortable inside of you.
Mhm.
Where you're like, even though my mind's like, I mean, I don't know what it was for you. Like, can you give me a bit? Like, were you like, if I don't do this, I don't have anything else? Or like, what was your
Like for me, it's like I mean, before I went to the online, I was like not a mom, right? So for me, when I started online, people was saying like I have to hustle, you gotta do all those posts, you gotta do like millions of posts, and before I have to do that, or else I feel like I'm doing nothing. Like I feel that guilt, right?
yeah,
And now at some point in my life, like what I was telling you the other day, like my reason for me now to be really online is basically to have that time with my son, to not
right,
miss that milestone. So I wanted to be that I'm growing this business and authentically actually having that time with my son.
right.
If it's taking away, then what's the
Yeah.
point of doing this?
And your body was giving you really intelligent signals that actually that wasn't necessary. But like the conditioning was going against what your
Yeah,
body's like, I don't actually want to do this. Not because I'm like lazy and I just expect money to fall from the sky,
yeah.
but it's not actually aligned with my values, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we because of like the outside noise, it's really easy to be like, well, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't
Exactly.
I move forward with that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I want to give you a story
Mm-hmm.
because I love this so much. I go back to this all the time. Um, just feel like it illustrates it so well. I'm in Toronto, so
Mm-hmm.
I take my kids to like Center Island. I don't know if you've been to Center Island. They have like a little like
The island, yeah, yeah, I think long
yeah,
time
yeah,
ago.
yeah. So they have like a little kids amusement park
Yeah.
there, and it's like super fun. It's a nice day. Anyways, there was this kid in line for this one ride with his grandma, and he's in the rod, he's in line, and he's like so excited, and he can't wait for his turn, right? And then it's like his turn, and as he gets closer to the ride, all of a sudden, it just hits him like,
Yeah.
this is too big. Actually, you could
Yeah.
just see like, he was just like his whole body
Yeah.
froze.
Mm-hmm.
And like the grandma's trying to push him on the ride and
Yeah.
his body's like frozen, right?
Yeah.
Which is again a signal. There's an
Yeah.
internal like intelligence that's like, this is too big and too fast for where I am currently,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I'm just like watching the grandma, who well-intentioned, no shade to the grandma here,
Yeah.
but it was such a good moment. I was like, this is what we do to ourselves. So first she tried to push him physically,
Yeah.
right? And he was like not moving. And that's what we do, right? We're
Yeah.
like, that's the shame piece where we're like,
Yeah.
ugh, trying to get myself to do it. And
Yeah.
yet the more
Yeah.
you try to do it, you can't, you actually feel like you're going backwards. And again,
Mm-hmm.
another easy spot to be like, what's wrong with me? Right. So then
Mm-hmm.
that's what she flipped to, was like, well, what's wrong with you? You were so
Yeah.
excited a minute ago, and now you get
Exactly.
here and you don't want to do it. And you could just see the more she was trying to push, the more he was like kind of collapsing in on himself. And then she went to like the guilt. Well, everyone else in line is waiting, and now you're
Yeah.
holding up the line. And no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. And the
Mm-hmm.
more she tried to coerce and manipulate, the more that he just like was just falling apart, right?
Correct.
And so again, we can watch that, and for a kid, you're like, oh my God, how cruel. That's so
Yeah.
awful. Like, and but yet that's what we do to ourselves all the time.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that's something that I think we forget as we grow up, like that those signals, like just the same thing that ride, like when I used to be a kid, I never liked to go on roller coasters. It's just
Yeah.
so scary. And then one day my friends are like, we have to go in the roller coaster and you have to do it, right? And I was excited just the same as that kid. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it because everybody else said we gotta
Yeah.
try it. Like, why are you so scared? There's nothing to be scared of. But I'm scared of height. And I got there, the same thing as that kid, and I said, I can't, I just can't, I just can't. I said, I have to go back. Go back down. I'm gonna go back. I don't care what the people say. I'm going back.
And we have so many of these junctures in business because every time you're facing a new like expansion or a new like, whether it's being seen or coming into a new conversation, what you're coming up against is this internal like programming that you don't
Hmm.
even know is there, based on like things that happened way long ago, where your body's like, this isn't safe. Right. And then we it's just so easy to collapse and be like, I can't do this. I'm not good
Hmm.
at business. Like the mind starts to give all of this context for what's happening. When in
Hmm.
reality, like again, if you look at the kid, like imagine the grandma had said, okay, why don't we step back and like watch the ride 5 more times? Let's watch
Hmm.
the ride as many times as you need to watch the ride
Hmm.
until you feel comfortable. Or even like maybe we start with a smaller ride,
Hmm.
right? We always think like, if I don't do it all, I got nothing, right? And I
Correct.
always love that idea of like slowing down and just being like, oh wow, like I'm really tense here. Like there's there's
Hmm.
there's an intelligence, there's something in my body saying, actually, I can't just hit the gas here. But
Hmm.
can I break this down into a like smaller little thing? Like you're saying, like instead of posting every day, can you be like, okay, my rhythm's changed, and like, what if I just post twice a week? Because that's where I'm at.
Correct. Correct.
And then
Correct.
you're still moving forward,
Hmm.
right? Without that like packing on all this
And
crap on
without
top of it.
that, like the pressure on yourself just because the expectation, or at least that's what we believe the expectation is, like, that people are
Totally.
putting on us, and then suddenly you're like, oh, what's happening? And then that's in the point, I think your body does give you that, oh, this is doesn't align to what I'm trying to do. So every time I always say like, oh, you need to pivot, like sometimes you gotta change it up things. And yes, some people might say something like, I know like a lot of people out there, like maybe, like their upline or somebody, like obviously if you're building something, somebody's gonna say
Yeah.
something. Whether
Yeah.
you're still doing this or not doing this, it's like you're doing it, but it's just in a way that, hey, how could I make this align to what I truly believe in? Is it really me? You know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah.
if it's like part of me doing this transition, part of me is like feeling like, oh, is it good? Like, like I'm changing, like, but I wanted to show up as me.
Yeah. And something I really live by that's like literally changed the game for me is this is I know I'm not giving up on myself,
Hmm.
but I don't care how long it takes me to get there.
Correct.
So if it takes me 5 years longer than someone else, because that's my path, I do not want to harm myself in the process.
Correct.
Because to build actual sustainable results,
Hmm.
like you've seen it so much, we've seen it, we've all seen it in business. People who go to like 0 to 100, and
Hmm.
then where are they a year later? they're burnt out and their whole business is shut down. Or
Correct.
they build too fast and they actually can't sustain it because
Mhm.
their bodies haven't caught up to like the amount of energy it takes to hold a big business. Everybody wants the big business, but
Correct.
nobody understands what it takes to actually like it's an incremental, like I always say to people, it's so good that you make money
Hmm.
like in increments, like that you're
Hmm.
growing in increments because it gives your body a chance to catch up
Correct.
with
Correct.
like what it takes to be at that new level, right? You get to like 100 from zero, you missed like 99 steps.
Yes,
That's
correct.
a lot
Exactly.
for your body to catch up with. So again, I think that's a big piece, right? Like where people, it's just so easy to judge, like you were saying, like, well, I haven't made any money yet,
Hmm.
or I haven't hit this milestone yet, or I
Hmm.
haven't, and it's like, but what are you cultivating in yourself?
Hmm.
Those are the major success points. What is the skills that you learned? What did you learn about yourself? How are you able to like support yourself better through these moments,
Correct.
right? It's just this all or nothing thing is like
Mhm.
really
No, 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 it cannot be all or nothing.
destructive,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
it's
To
very
to ourselves.
destructive. Like for me, I say, like, even though like there are moments like sometimes you might not see, like, I don't know what the measurement of success for you, whether it's like money or whatever the result. For me, it's like whether if there's no result, the main point here is that you have grown. Like, like for you, if you transition every day and you're like, oh, I see myself as like, I maybe I push myself too much. Like during the beginning of May, I was in emergency, right? I did not expect that. I was in the hospital.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
like literally, I just had a major headache. And I said, oh, what happened there? Like, like my body now give me that big signal. That was a big
Girl,
signal.
slow down.
You're gonna like, what the heck are you doing? Because just in the flash of an eye, just like that, thing just changed, like you're like, whoa, that's a wake up call.
Totally, totally. Yeah. And I'm at the point in my life now where I'm like, okay, I don't need a brick to the head
Hmm.
to get the point anymore. And that's what I mean. Like, this is where I realized like Fridays and some Mondays, like I alternate it. I
Hmm.
actually need a day to be alone with no one talking to me, whether
Hmm.
that means like I'm in the dark in my own room or I'm just going for walks because that's actually what my system needs to be able to like recalibrate and integrate all the growth I've had and all the things I'm learning. And it's too much, right? Like our
Hmm.
systems get so overheated and then we
Correct.
collapse into these spots and you're not more ahead, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, like it's like you're forced to go down and that's really hard.
Exactly. And I think that's something that I think we forget in this journey, right? Just like you said, building a business does require a lot of time, It doesn't come like, oh, just because another person, I think it's just because we also compare. Like sometimes I feel guilty. Sometimes I do that, like, how come that person who just started just had so much success now, like, oh, he just started and he had all of these things and I already started a few months ago and I just like, oh, still here. I feel like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Again,
Yeah.
that's just I don't know if it's just a natural thing that we humans do. Is that to compare ourselves or it's just because like people telling you like, oh, how come you don't have result, right?
Well, and also we're looking at such a surface level. Like you're
Mhm.
not, someone might have instant success, but have no idea how they did it and can't repeat it. So is that really success? Like, what is
Correct.
success? Again, like you were saying, how do you define success? Like for
Hmm.
me, the way I define success is like it's really continuing to cultivate my skills, my expertise, my expression, how I show up in the world, my kindness, my humanity. Like I
Hmm.
try to continually be able to have deeper understanding for humans because that's how I've learned to be able to actually be more supportive for people to be able to have more success is the more I
Hmm.
understand. I mean, this is how I got into the work that I'm doing, right? Like we started in real estate and, we had my husband was really big in affiliate marketing and network marketing and we had big teams and I was always like so fascinated by the psychology. I'm like, how come some people can
Hmm.
just go and a lot of people really struggle and what's really behind that? And
Hmm.
how do we work with people in a way that they can actually move forward in a sustainable way, right? And it is
Correct.
so complex. Everyone's got their own stuff going on, and some people have skills in one area where you have skills in another area, but some show more like money wise, but that doesn't
Hmm.
mean you don't have the value. And
Correct. Correct.
so, again, it's like it's hard to see the big picture when we're just looking at numbers. But I think that's what's so important. Like, I always think at the end of the day, like, what did I learn today? Right. And maybe that's as simple as like, I was able to be more patient with my child. So I
Mm-hmm.
cultivated this ability to stay in a lot of irritation and not like do my usual thing of like piecing out or
Yeah.
freaking out. That means actually I cultivated it here and now I have that to actually offer into the world, right?
Correct, correct. I think that's a different perspective, right? It's something that we don't really see as part of a success, I think.
Yeah.
Like, hey, wow, I became patient today. Or like when you talk to somebody, like, and you were able to listen. And I think
Mm.
that's one of the thing I also need to still practice listen.
Yeah, you realize out in the world, people don't have to listen. No one, everyone's listening to just respond, right?
Hmm.
And this is the other thing too, like cultivating that, the ability to listen. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
Because so few people are really heard, even by their loved ones. So if you can really hear someone,
Yeah.
like really take them in,
Yeah.
like really take in their experience and be like, whoa, I feel where that hits me in my body. Oh my gosh, I
Mhm.
can actually relate to that.
Correct.
Like you're forging a bond there with that person that's like
Yeah. Listening is one of
undeniable.
the skills. Yeah. That
Right? They're
makes.
going to trust you. And again, I'm not saying using it manipulatively, but like
Yeah.
it's a real, if it's a real thing, it's a real
Yeah.
thing, right?
Correct. If the real thing, it's a real thing. Like again, remember we're gonna go back to that alignment, right? With the connection. And yeah, again, I think that's one of the things that we don't see much as a win in ourselves, like all those cultivating skills, the things that we learn every single day. We just like focusing too much on the results, I think. And then that's what I think hit a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people I think sometimes give up on themselves. Do you see that in your journey? Like that's one
Oh
of
my gosh. And it's the biggest thing for me too to understand was that your survival like wiring is always going to override your thriving, your desire to thrive.
mm-hmm.
Right? So when your system like for me, I mean when I first started in business and I was like starting to learn sales, which was really just talking to people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was just talking to strangers, but it was so I was putting so much pressure on myself to like get
Mhm.
a result. And there was so much fear about how I was being perceived.
Mhm.
And I was constantly evaluating, am I successful? Am I not successful? Like there was so
Mhm.
much going on. You see how when all that's going on, how do you have any space to actually be in that conversation? Like I
Correct.
would waste so much time trying to make a conversation work
Hmm.
as opposed to like, is this even a person who is resonant with what I'm like, are we even a
Yeah.
match? Right?
Correct.
And
Exactly.
that was my survival wiring. And
Hmm.
until I started to understand, like, and that's what I'm saying, coming back to like, until I was able to like, wow, I'm super tense in this conversation. Let me actually slow down here. And rather than just like blah, 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 say the
Yeah.
script and do all the things that my coach told me to do,
Yeah.
like be with myself and be like, shit, this is super vulnerable and I'm terrified.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And my heart's beating and I'm sweating. And to admit that to yourself
Hmm. Hmm.
and to be like, okay, let me actually give myself a little bit of safety here of like, whoa, I hear you. This is terrifying for you. This
Hmm.
is so out of your realm. You've had no training in this, and this is
Hmm.
all new. And like, it's okay. It's okay that this feels scary.
Hmm.
And can I, again, this was another part of it. I was actually learning to bring in like coaches that could meet me there rather than coaches that were like, well, you just need to meet more people and it's a
Yeah.
numbers game. And I was
Mm.
like, I would just shut down with those coaches because I was like, I can't do business that way. I don't, people aren't numbers to me.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Right. So, yeah, it's just that's the whole thing of like, and again, this is what takes, it takes time to cultivate that to be like, okay, I'm not going to nail it today because I have all this stuff coming up internally. And actually, that's what I need to learn to take care of. If I can
Hmm.
take care of myself here, then my body relaxes and now I can meet the moment.
Hmm.
You
Correct.
cannot
Correct.
meet the moment if you're in a shutdown survival, right?
Correct. I think that's very true. Like for me, like again, I'm in this transition, right? Learning again all those things, and I've never had any sales expertise. There was no sales training at all because remember, I used to be a preschool. So for
Right.
me,
Oh,
the
yeah.
same thing, like for me, like I know it's not scared to talk to people. I talk to people. But again, it's just like like that you said, there's this thing, this internal thing that you're like. I just want it to be like, am I doing this like not the right way, but how am I really gonna connect? Like, am I really listening? Even the listening part, like, oh, I still need to cultivate that. I need to still listen, like it's not like a skill that you can just have just like that, I wish. You know, I
Oh yeah,
wish.
when someone's talking and then you realize you gapped out for 5 minutes, you're like, oh shoot, what were they saying?
What were you saying? Sorry. And they're like, you're not even listening. Sorry,
What was your name again? Oh shoot.
sorry. Yeah, yeah, I forgot already. But yeah, again, that's are the things like, I think we forget to honor ourselves. Like, when we get to there, like it's okay that you're scared and you take your time. And not saying that you're not gonna do it, like for me, I was scared, and my first thing when my coach said, "Oh, you gotta message this much people, and hey, you gotta book that call." That for me was so scary because the moment the person booked the call and then we go to Zoom, we're like, what am I supposed to say to this person?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I feel like at that time when I first started that, I was just rushing things, like, and then I said, okay, you know what? Maybe just like what you said, maybe the person that you're talking to, like, is not the match, But when I started talking to like mostly moms, like stay-at-home moms like me, the conversation was just so natural. Like, and they're like, "Oh wow, it's so easy to talk to you," because we were a match. But when was booking people, like I was just booking random people, just to book a call. But then when we go have a conversation, it was just like, I don't know, it just didn't feel aligned. Like, so now everything was just rushing because they're asking me, "Oh, what's the point of this call?" Like, okay,
Yeah.
so what are we doing here? I was like, I wanted to talk like like to get to know you, what do you
Yeah.
want to know, but they were not giving, because it was just not match.
Yeah. And you're not going to be a match for everybody, and that's totally okay, right? And again, it's just like relax a little bit. And like it's okay, right? Like that's what I wanted to say. If I can go back and talk to myself when I first started in business, it's like don't be so hard on yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Your every interaction you're learning. Every time I got rejected like that,
Mm-hmm.
what was clear in my body was like I don't want to impose myself on people that don't want
Mm-hmm.
anything to do with me. Like
Correct.
I remember learning, like, these are your rebuttals. And I was like, ew, this feels so
Yeah.
gross to me. I don't want to build a business that way. Because you don't need to. Why are you trying to convince people that
Correct.
don't want what you're offering or just aren't even a match in personality or in paradigm, like you're saying? Like it's so natural for you to speak to new moms because
Mm-hmm.
you're all living in that world. And so actually, there's like this beautiful resonance,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Automatically of you get each other and you know what you each struggle with. And just like you're also not talking to adults. So like getting into an
Yes.
adult conversation where somebody's like answering back is so life-giving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than talking to a toddler all day.
Oh yeah,
God
toddlers.
bless them. They're wonderful, but
They're very good. This is talking about it.
you're like, I'm brain dead at the end of the day.
Toddlers are very interesting. They have no fear, They have no fear.
Oh,
They
yeah,
discover interesting things.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's it, right? Like business isn't about just going out and making money. Actually, the way I see business, my relationship to business is actually, it's actually a pathway of healing, healing all the things, because you're going to see what's going to come up,
Mm-hmm.
all of the things that you've never wanted to look at in yourself that actually need attention and that actually need love.
Correct.
So to me, I've always oriented myself in business from this place of like, if you want to, I look back at it, I'm like, well, part of me wanted to be an entrepreneur. Yes, I never wanted to ask for like time off. Yes, I never
Mm-hmm.
wanted to like have someone, dictate my life.
Correct,
But I'm
correct.
like, there was a part of me that was like, I want to face these things. I actually want to
Mm-hmm.
heal them
Mm-hmm.
and not just like cope with
Mm-hmm.
my dysfunctional orientation. Like
Correct, correct.
I didn't like that I had fear in in being myself. I really saw that when I got into business and I was afraid to talk to people about what I did. I was like, some part of me is ashamed of who I am, or some part of me feels
Mm-hmm.
inadequate. And I actually want to heal that from the root to come into wholeness. And
Mm-hmm.
so again, I look at my whole entrepreneurial journey and I'm like, yeah, I kind of think I tricked myself into like this whole healing path.
No, I think it's true. I think we don't see business in that standpoint, like it's actually a healing journey because every time, like as you grow in this journey, there's always that blocks, and you're like, oh, what it's blocking me? Like for example, I telling you like there's like, oh, why am I not growing? Like I think there's something missing, but I just don't know what it is. And that's why it comes to like mentor coaching, people who can guide you, right? Because I think just like you said, there's something in the past. That just doesn't allow us to move forward.
Totally. And whatever level you're at, every time you get to another level, there's
Mm-hmm.
something that you're going to have to look at and reorient yourself towards and integrate because it's kind of like sometimes the rules or whatever works at level 5, like at level 10, it's like the whole like laws of
Mhm.
physics are totally reversed. Like
Correct.
what you learned here and what worked here, you have to now completely unlearn. And I hear this from my clients all the time, right? And this is so much of the work that we do.
Mhm.
That's the hard part, is
Mhm.
because we're like, oh my gosh, this worked. And I got so accustomed to that. And now
Mhm.
I've got to let like to expand your
Oh,
business. I got to let go of control of all these things.
oh,
Oh my God,
it's a
that's so
hard part.
scary.
It's hard. Letting go, like just you said, to let go is a
It's
hard.
just so scary.
It's
I want to
like,
do everything, but I can't keep doing everything
mhm,
to grow at this next level, right? So that's
correct.
hard in our internal system. And
Mhm.
again, it's so easy to like, again, that's why I'm such a fan of like support and like community with people who are growing with you or
Mhm.
people that are a bit ahead of you or that kind of mentorship. So they can meet you there and understand what your body has to go through
Mhm.
to have that support at that deep level because it makes it so much more easeful. Because
Mhm.
rather than thinking there's something wrong with you or fighting against yourself, you actually know how to support your body. Because again, it's the next level, you're dealing with a lot more energy.
Correct.
And your body's gets it's kind of like that kid looking at the roller coaster, right? It's like, oh my God, this is so much energy. It's overwhelming my system.
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
I'm going into shutdown because again, that's just my like survival. This is the intelligence of the body. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's your body saying too much, too fast, too soon. Got to slow it
Mhm.
down and got to there's other little pieces to work with underneath, right? So it's cultivating. How do we start to like cultivate that internal awareness and really
Mhm.
approach with like a lot of softness and kindness of like maybe there's yeah, not something wrong with me here, but like I'm learning about myself.
Correct. So, like, for the people that's listening to right now, like, let's see, maybe they're not sure how to cultivate that internal self. What are the things, like, maybe like 3 steps or 4 steps that you usually do to help you cultivate that internal?
Well, the first thing is slowing down.
Mhm.
So and this is something great like if you do have a partner right like my husband and I have been really good for each other in this way where when I see him get really fast and really like I know the response right he gets like rushy and like we got to do all this we got to go and I'm like ooh something is happening here because when you're acting a bit psycho something's happening right so knowing each other's cues but also learning your own cues right
Correct.
so what are the cues how do I know when my system is kind of going into overdrive
Mm-hmm.
how can I start to recognize that there's something because, like you said, it's like you're trying to actually rush over it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, how can I slow down in those spots a little bit and just breathe? And again, I find it so helpful to identify where am I feeling that in my body
Mm-hmm.
and just placing a hand on whatever spot that is. And sometimes it's like weird places, like you wouldn't expect, but a lot of the times it's like heart,
Yeah.
stomach, throat, head, and just
Mm-hmm.
like breathing and making a connection there and being like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like something is happening. Something is happening. And can I actually slow down to actually feel what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that actually feels really overwhelming because that's why you're rushing through. You don't want to feel it because it's too much for your system, right? So little going as slow as you can, little bite size. Like can I feel it even for 3 seconds, 5 seconds? And then I can go and distract myself. But let me just like land here with like, holy crap, I'm overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot for me, right? This is like an acknowledgement of vulnerability. This is why I think we avoid this, is because we're afraid that
Correct.
if we acknowledge it, we're never going to move forward. Where
Correct.
actually, if you acknowledge it, you unlock everything in your system that has been like blocked, right?
Correct.
When you can be with the energy can start to flow.
Correct, correct. I think I think you're right. Sometimes we ignore that vulnerability piece in ourselves. You're like, oh no, it's kind of scary. I don't want to be vulnerable.
Because like you said before too, right? Like we have this expectation that I should always be up. I should always
Yeah.
be on. I should always be on my game. You're human, man. It's not a thing. No one no one is. No one is ever, right? And again, the people that we see from the outside that we're like, look, how come they're not? It's a
Mhm.
lie.
Mhm. No, no, no. Yeah.
I would say the people that you see that are really up
Mm-hmm.
actually is because they have a lot more compassion for themselves. Again, sustainably. Like a lot of people can do it for a short amount of time, but you burn out. You burn
Mm-hmm.
out,
Correct.
right? What are you trying to build? Are you trying to get like quick and then crash?
Correct, correct.
The people I work with are interested in real sustainable, like we're growing this foundation. When you
Mm-hmm.
have this strong foundation and like these deep roots,
Mm-hmm.
when a storm comes, guess what? You're way more resourced.
Correct. I think so. That I think that's good. I think we forget to the foundation part, to build that foundation on what it really takes to grow in this, like, whatever business or anything that you want to do,
Yeah.
right? That you never done before. And I think we forget that even the houses needs a strong foundation,
Oh yeah. Trust me, I was in
So,
real estate. I've seen a couple cracky foundations and it's
yes,
not everything
exactly.
starts to fall in on itself.
Exactly. And if
Yeah.
we don't take that time, and I think you were right, we rush too much. And
Yeah.
then we burn and that's it. And then we give up because we're
Yeah.
like, I'm tired.
Yeah. So when these survival responses show up, we just have to learn to like have a little bit more ease with ourselves, have a little bit more compassion, and like, I'm moving through a big moment.
Hmm.
Actually, this is a really big moment here. And you're supporting yourself. Again, I'm going to bring the grandma back, right? Like how you want to treat that child. It is a younger part of yourself that's like, I'm not ready. I don't feel you're gonna be like, get on the ride, right? Or you're gonna be like,
You.
hey, you know what? Cool. Like it's okay if we sit it out and watch it 5 times or go to a smaller ride or like you're so brave for even getting here.
Hmm.
Like, good for you for even like facing this. And this is so out
Hmm.
of your realm. And
Sure.
it's fine if we don't even ride this ride this time and we come back. I guarantee you, you're going to be able to make more steps forward
Yeah.
with that kind of gentle touch than if you're just like jamming it and then guilting yourself because you couldn't do it.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So I think a system, that's what I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad my system wouldn't let me override myself. Like there was
Hmm.
such an intelligence in there that was like, no, I will not let you treat me with like lack of integrity.
Hmm.
Because by the way, guess what? That's how you treat other people too, right?
Hmm. Correct.
So yeah, it's but again, this is not easy work because
Hmm.
our, like you said, our knee-jerk responses is to like feel guilty, try to override it, disassociate and be like, I'm not feeling that. I'm fine. No, I can just go do it, thinking I'll feel better when I accomplish the thing.
Hmm.
So we put our like happiness into the future to like keep chasing the thing.
Hmm.
And it's like, do you though? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, every time I've hit those milestones, I feel like you're not really like, oh yes, that's
Because then
everything.
another milestone will come
There's
up. People
another
will tell you, oh,
milestone.
hey, you gotta, Dean, you gotta hit the other milestone. You
Absolutely.
cannot stop here. Another
Yeah.
milestone. But
Yeah.
you're like, I'm tired. I want to enjoy
Yeah.
the moment?
And again, maybe like if you don't slow down enough, you need to slow down enough to even be like, is this for me? Like
Hmm.
when I was doing sales training, the reality was I was getting up every day and vomiting before going in to work at this like sales thing because I had read in Robert Kiyosaki's book, like the best
Yeah.
skill you can have is sales.
Yeah.
But the way they were teaching sales was so not the way I wanted to do it. And I kept forcing myself because I was like, that's what I gotta do.
Yeah.
And literally my body every day was like, I don't want you to go. Bleh.
Yeah.
And again, it's an intelligence of like, you're not hustle culture. You're not like now I look at my business and I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like I have people, I have relationship, like anybody I work with. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm in a relationship with them 7, 10 plus years. Like
Hmm.
there's so much integrity and real connection there. Like that never would have been built if I was like
Hustle,
from
hustle.
that quick sales mentality of I'm just trying to
Hmm.
get money out of people.
Hmm.
And guess what? You make more money over the long term,
Correct.
right? So again, in the short term, that may not look like much, but
Hmm.
over a period of 5, 10, 20 years, it's massive.
Correct. Exactly. So,
Right?
give
Yeah.
yourself that time, uh, listen to your internal body. That's very important. Like, I think we forget. And I think we ignore that vulnerability piece. Like, when we feel like, oh, something is happening here, but we ignore it because we feel like, oh, we gotta push. We gotta push. And sometimes, like you said, like, like if it doesn't align with you and you feel like you have to set back, like, oh, is there something here that maybe that's not aligning to me? I want to be able to create it the way I want to create it?
Yeah. And then
And
you actually learn to trust yourself. And this is
Mm-hmm.
the other really important thing that we were talking about the other day, right? Is how do you back yourself? You're not going to be able to back yourself energetically in any situation if you feel like you're shady.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, exactly. You
You
need
know,
to.
unconsciously, even if you don't want to admit it, like when you trust yourself, and I'm like, no, no, I know I can slow down with me, which means I can slow down with the person in front of me. I
Mm-hmm.
can meet everything that's in this moment because
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning to cultivate the ability to be with all the nuance. Like it's so great to show up and be like, wow, I'm feeling really nervous right now. Let me just like take a breath because I want to actually like meet you heart to heart rather than like hiding that and pretending I'm okay and like
Yeah,
you know the amount
exactly.
of trust that you then have in yourself of like, wow, I have this amazing capacity to just be really open and vulnerable and honest with
Correct.
people.
I
It's
think so. I think so. Yeah, that's something I think I like something I had to really learn,
Mhm.
in my journey, like to say, like, to just say how I feel so that I could be able to listen and stuff like that, which is a skill I'm still learning.
Yeah, we all are. We all are. Yeah. It's always
And
that's it. It's
that
not
thing, like, just to be real with yourself. I think it's the trusting part from all the journey. Like maybe it's that you don't trust yourself enough.
Mhm.
And that should start with yourself first. How can
Yeah.
people trust you if you don't trust yourself?
You don't trust yourself, you're trying to push against your own energy. So it's like trying to swim against a wave,
Hmm.
right? Whereas when you're learning to be with all of the things inside of you, you're actually learning to work with your own internal energy. And now
Hmm.
it's like you do feel, I love the term like the wind at your back,
Hmm.
because the wind is at your back. You're not trying to overcome all these things that you're in denial of.
Correct.
You're in real relationship with everything that is you without
Mhm.
any, right, shame or feeling that you're inadequate. But
Correct.
again, it's a process, it's a practice. It's not something you're just going to develop overnight, and it's about being committed to that. And again, also, I think it's so important to surround yourself with people that support that and
Mhm.
nurture that, right? Because I think when you're surrounded by voices that are like, just sell, just sell, just sell, it's like you're going to self-abandon.
Mhm. Correct. Correct. And that's
So
just so
serves
important,
like,
yeah, to
yeah,
nurture
the,
that in yourself and also to align yourself with people that nurture that kind of like the way that makes you feel like who you are, like the ability for you to grow in that environment, right? Just I think you just said that the other day that we talked, like building that environment, like even for our kids, right? You just said like you said your kids, you homeschooled them at the beginning, but still you created that environment without stress for them, right?
totally. Yeah, and that's what we looked for. Who can we bring into our lives that are like going to be enriching
Mm-hmm.
to them, to their experience, right? I wanted my kids to grow up around like artists and creatives and entrepreneurs and like same, we have to cultivate that community of like, yeah, that's going to be the influences in their life rather than just hanging out with whoever's around.
Exactly. And I think that's us. I think that's something that we have to owe ourselves. Like, yeah, now I'm starting to realize that, like, hey, you know what? Who am I surrounding myself? Not just like, all both offline and also online. And like, and there's some like things like happen, like, over the journey, there's people that just disappear, and you're like, oh, maybe it's like part of you will find like, oh, that was a little bit a loss, right? Because you obviously you know that person for so long, and then suddenly you're like, maybe it wasn't the right thing, like maybe it was not a fit and it just had to happen. Like instead of dwelling into that thing, oh, why, like, like going and like, trying to convince the person, like, why you're not making relationship with me or whatever. It's just like, you're like, oh, maybe that's the piece that you said you gotta let go. Just,
You
just
got to learn to let go.
learn how to let go. That's just how it is. So, Nadine, thank you so much for that. Could you tell us a little bit what you're doing right now? Maybe invite the audience
Mhm.
to what you're doing right now and how they're going to be able to contact you or follow you.
Yeah, so you can check out I am my Instagram handle is I am Nadine Damian XO. And I actually have like quite a few free trainings on there in terms of like working with the body, and I've got somatic approaches to relationship with money. So you can go check that out and subscribe to my email list. I always send out fun, fun, informative emails. And yeah, same on Facebook. I am Nadine Damian XO. And yeah, I do run a group program, which is this is all the work that we do, right? It's work with all kinds of entrepreneurs. So it's like a mastermind in the sense that, they all have like connection with each other, but everything from brick and mortar to online entrepreneurs, and but that are all working from the body and learning to and growing their businesses with their whole selves, right? And so it's really cultivating within yourself this ability to bring like your heart and your soul forward in everything that you're doing. So yeah, go check it out. I'd love to have you.
I love that. I love that. And you said I'm Nadine
Yeah,
Damian
I am Nadine Damian, XO.
XO. Okay. Maybe if you have the link of your internet, maybe you could drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
So it's just easier for people to find. Sometimes,
If my keyboard set up. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it over here.
Okay.
There we go. Sorry. I have too many laptops on here and it wasn't connected to this one. That's
That's good. That's good. So guys, thank you so much for listening to us. If you've been listening to this live stream, in live, comment what you have found valuable during this how long has it been? 1 hour of stalking. Comment in the comment section. And again, you can follow Nadine in I am Nadine Damian XO. And let me see if people can
yeah.
see it.
I'm Nadine Damian, hugs and kisses.
Thank you, something even like that. And yeah, follow her. She gets like free resources. Again, if you're looking into finding yourself, like having growing a business with your whole self, like with like, what more like authentic self of your own self, like authentic self, and finding those things that's blocking you. Sometimes there's that, sometimes even though you read so many books, there's still something blocking. Like I was just telling to Nadine, I have so many books
Well, books only
already.
take you so far. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was saying, I have so many books. I bought so many other books again. And I said like it's just like not there yet, like I mean like somebody still need to guide you through the process, like all of those things. Like Nadine, just like right now in just 1 hour of talking to Nadine, I have learned so many things, like when I get overwhelmed, maybe I need to find where is that spot, and tell myself slow down, because sometimes I don't. And sometimes I just like to react to things, like
Mhm.
in person, in business, anything. I just like to react very fast, which is not good. And I said to myself,
Well, but be gentle with yourself. All that's happening, I just want to point this out for everybody because this is really important. All that's happening is you're having a big surge of energy in the body and you
mm,
have to actually like let it out somehow.
mm,
So that reaction, it's not that it's bad. It's just
mm,
like you're like overwhelmed with too much energy,
mm.
right?
Correct.
So yeah, be gentle. Be good to
I'll
yourself.
be gentle. I'll be gentle. So other than that, if you are watching this in replay, again, comment hashtag replay. Let us know where you're coming from. And again, you can find Nadine at I am Nadine XO. No, I
Damien.
am
So yeah.
Nadine Damian XO on her Instagram and also in Facebook. I think in Facebook it's just Nadine Damian, right?
No, I am Nadine Damian XO
Oh, okay. It's the
as
same
my
thing.
business
So
page.
you could be able to follow her and be able to learn more about the topic that we have learned today. Thank you, Nadine. Anything else
Thank
that
you
you
so
want to
much.
tell our viewers? Last thing that you want to tell them?
No, I mean, this has been great. I just have enjoyed so much this conversation, and I hope, yeah, that everyone got some good juju out of this. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Bye, Nadine.
Bye.